Hello, listeners. Once you're done catching up with everything Intrepid Audio Productions has to offer, check out some other great independent podcast shows like the Knights of the Video Game Table podcast. Jeremy, Patrick, and Frank do great work, and it's worth your time to check them out. They're part of the Nerdgasm Network, where you can find other cool shows, including the Super Budget Brothers, the Nerdgasm Network video game podcast, and all other shows, which can be found at extraplay.info. Give them a listen, because good, honest work can be hard to find.
Sort of break it down like this.
Oh, fantastic. He is one of the biggest meatballs on Twitter.
I'm an idiot.
No, that's okay.
Nice to meet you, I'm Mike.
Could you please take back Tim Tebow?
Oh, awesome.
College football in touch.
I don't understand where these questions are coming from, Tom. That's about it for Manager's Corner. Go yourself in the with your show coming up next on the Baltimore Oriole Baseball Network.
I made a note about college sports, and the note just says college sports in general.
Whammy!
Can't do it.
The changes that have happened in the Cub organization are multifold.
Boogie boogie. Great stuff. Welcome back to Chicago Sports Update here on Intrepid Audio Productions. Just to all the listeners, thanks for listening.
Welcome back to Chicago Sports Update here on IAP Podcast. This is Matt, and with me I have Mike. Welcome back.
Hey, how you doing?
Brandon is off.
Good to be back. Sorry, that kind of got delayed a second. I'm on a delay, Matt.
Oh, okay.
Matt wasn't aware of it.
Now I am. Brandon couldn't join us due to some work obligations, and that's all right. Let's see. There's no report from the Crimson Tide this week as they had a bye week in preparation for the LSU Tigers this coming Saturday. So, yeah, big game for them. Probably one of the highlights of their schedule is as he's mentioned several times before. Let's see. I will have a quick Raider recap as Patrick's unable to join us, but he sent in an email with some of his thoughts as well as the past 2 weeks of the Raiders. And, well, the Bears were on a bye last week, so, yes, no show. But, a few other things have been going on, especially the kickoff. Well, I should say the tip-off of the NBA. Your thoughts, Mike, on it, if you have any, if you got to watch any of the games?
It's the NBA regular season.
Yeah.
It's hard to get into, watch. I know it'll never happen, but... God, the strike shortened season was so awesome. If they could capture some kind of format like that, but it'll never happen because there's too much revenue lost. I'm impressed with what I've seen by Rose so far. It's hard too because at the same time when you're seeing it, you're like, you should be playing good because you had like a year off, you know what I mean? So, yeah. I don't know. It's still the regular season. It's still the NBA regular season, which is just about as pointless as the NHL regular season when it comes down to it. I mean, it was funny too because I was talking about this the other day with one of my coworkers, and I was kind of like, well, if they shorten the season, and I don't know, you would have to go and figure out, how many games you'd really lose or what. I don't know, whatever you want to, but if you shorten it by even 20 games, and then, you know what? What's the big deal? You got 8 teams, half the teams are already going to the playoffs. Why not add 2 more playoff teams to make the playoffs a little bit longer so you make up the games?
Yeah.
And it's a little bit more of a show of what happens in the playoffs because it is a more exciting game to watch in the playoffs no matter who's playing, you know what I mean? And yeah, for the most part, and I know we've talked about the NBA and how, the same teams continually win year in and year out, it seems. So you still would get that. It wouldn't be like, I wouldn't imagine that you'd start getting this, influx of, mediocre teams pulling out these, crazy upsets. But God, they just have a 7 game series for everything, and I could see that they would make the money back. But I don't know how the NBA works if all the teams share revenues at some point or whatever. So it'll never happen. And I'm just
Yeah, you would think that they would with just having a luxury tax and having all those sorts of safeguards as to, uh, I guess, force teams in either spending money,
yeah.
not hitting above a certain amount of money. Yeah, that's kind of what I felt last week. It was just, oh, okay, great. Now we can finally move past on the fact that Derrick Rose is back playing. That's all great, well and good.
Yeah, it's good. And then you just realize that they still have the same problems they had before he got hurt.
Yep.
And nothing got addressed about that. And meanwhile, definitely looks like the Eastern Conference has got, you know, it got stronger. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But then at the same time, like, I still don't know if I mean, I guess I gotta buy into it because, the number one team that's doing it and, has the superstar team has won back-to-back titles, so I guess I can't knock it too much, but it doesn't mean anything. Like I said, it's the regular season, and if you're talking in terms of the Heat, they don't seem to care about really the regular season. What happens? They're going to win their games.
Oh yeah. Neither does San Antonio
Yeah.
and Popovich. I mean, there's the real masters of the NBA at this point, as far as coaching is concerned, know that the regular season doesn't matter because your team's good enough to accumulate enough wins to get into the playoffs. And if they don't, you have a real problem.
Yeah.
So that's not to say that Popovich is ignoring games. No, he knows that, okay, you don't have to win every single game and you don't have to redline every single play in order to get the win and in order to get into the playoffs. And I know that's talked a lot about, and it's the biggest criticism, and I can agree with the criticism on Tom Thibodeau of the Bulls, but he has to do that in order for the team to succeed. And I think I think it's very skewed and a very slanted opinion or criticism of him because we've never seen him in a situation where he has players that are the second option, are the third option, are just another option in order to score. You have Kirk Heinrich, who, if the breeze is the wrong way, he'll break a leg. His his elbow will hurt, his forearm will be bruised. Yeah, he absolutely is. You have Luol Deng, who, I'm sorry, to me is the most overrated bull, overrated role player in the NBA, and Joakim Noah has a lot of really bad minutes on his feet. And come January, heck, it could even hit in December this year, he's going to be out 6 weeks for an injury, for a foot injury or something. Maybe I'm being a little bit, I don't know, bombastic or overreactionary to it. But the fact is, the Bulls do not have the role players to support Derrick Rose in his game, to play and succeed well and succeed far and get to an NBA title. They just don't have that title for Derrick Rose. They don't have those role players. They don't have those players.
I think they have one line of them. They don't have secondary options. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't.
And
They don't. And it was funny too because I was listening to a conversation about like how good the Heat are, how good the Heat team is this year, and like how they've from the first year they were like a thrown together team, and it proved it in the end because they got to the finals, but they weren't strong enough to win it.
Right.
They've gotten better.
Yeah, everyone's settled into that role.
Yeah.
They bought into the system of, okay, LeBron's the man. we're gonna ride him away, but we're all here to do a
You know,
part. And
LeBron's the man until Dwayne Wade wakes up one day and feels good and has a great game.
and then the next day, LeBron's back
And
being
then
the
the
man.
next day he goes 2 for 18 and it's my knee. Knee's
and
acting up again.
and honestly, I don't get it. I genuinely I don't know what's going on right now with the Bulls. I don't understand the mentality of the organization as it is right now. Yes, Thibodeau has the ear and the support of the most important player on the team, Derrick Rose. But Derrick Rose, honestly, you hate to say it, he's just another Allen Iverson. He's an undersized, intense player. And
Yeah,
you're
he's
not
gonna
going to win with that. You're just
gonna
never going to win with it.
he's gonna break
And
down.
yeah, I mean, he already had his injury. He already lost an entire season. Okay, fine. You deal with it and you move on. But take a little bit of a bigger picture here. Now, I not to you, Mike, but to the listeners. And if you agree with us, that's great. I'm glad you do. Let us know that you do agree with us. But the front office is not making very good decisions to help open and keep open a window of success. It's just not there. Carlos Boozer wasn't the answer. Kyle Korver wasn't the answer. And to give Boozer a lot of money a few years ago, that I wasn't in support of that. I was always in support of making a good decision, spending wisely. Don't spend stupid just to spend, because it's not worth it. You only hurt yourself in the end. And right now, that's where the Bulls are at right now. They're just at this point where it's talked about, radio stations here of just called basketball hell. You're good enough to succeed, to tease, but then when you play a really good team, you know how far away you are. The Bulls right now are very far away.
They're like the Cleveland Cavs of the early '90s.
Oh yeah, oh absolutely. I mean, heck, the Cavs, the Knicks, the Pacers.
Yeah,
I mean, you have those. There's always those second place teams that, heck, the Bulls were even that way to the Pistons for a while.
yeah.
And go ahead.
No, sorry. I was just thinking. The funniest thing is, out of all of them, Boozer's playing the best. He's like playing really great. I know it's 3 games, whatever, but it's kind of been funny because he's been like, but it was even that way in the preseason. He was playing like that. So I don't know. I know we're not talking this sport right now, but it's like the Bears are playing Monday Night Football against the Packers in a little bit here, and it's the same way I feel. I was talking about the game with my dad, and he's asking me like what my score prediction or what I thought was going to happen, and I'm like, I think they're going to get wiped. I hate saying it. I don't want to say it, but you know what? I'm a homer to a point, right?
You're not stupid.
I'm not a 10-year-old kid anymore. I'm not sports stupid like that. But I told them at the same time, I'm like, I could see them honestly getting wiped, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a close game or if they won.
Yeah.
I've seen enough Bears-Packers games through my time to know that it doesn't matter who the better team is or who's better that year. It doesn't matter. So, but I feel firmly that, the Bulls will make the playoffs, but past that,
Yeah, it's really sad. I don't know. As far as I'm concerned right now, if things break right the next couple of weeks for the Bears, I'm all fine with them staying in contention for the playoffs. That being said, they have 13 I think, players with 1-year contracts on their last year of a contract. So it's going to be real ugly